Alright, let's go. Number 10. A volcano was caught erupting by accident, and it changed everything we thought we knew about moons. On March 8, 1979, an imaging scientist named Linda Morabito at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory was processing black and white photographs sent back by the Voyager 1 spacecraft as it passed by Jupiter's moon Io. While enhancing an image to check spacecraft navigation, she noticed a strange crescent-shaped bump extending off the edge of the moon, something that shouldn't have been there at all. After ruling out a background star or a second moon hiding behind Io, scientists realized they were looking at something no one had ever seen before, an active volcanic eruption on another world, a plume of material shooting roughly 160 miles above the surface. Until that moment, every moon in the solar system was assumed to be a dead, frozen rock, geologically silent since its formation billions of years ago. Io shattered that assumption instantly. We now know Io has more than 400 active volcanoes, making it by far the most volcanically active body anywhere in our solar system, far more active than Earth itself. Some of its eruptions shoot lava fountains higher than Mount Everest is tall. The surface is constantly resurfacing itself, meaning almost nothing on Io is older than about 1,000,000 years, a blink of an eye in geological time. A moon that should have been cold and dead is instead violently, continuously tearing itself apart from the inside. Number 9. Two tiny moons are trapped inside Jupiter's rings, and physics says they cannot stay there forever. Jupiter has a faint, dusty ring system, far less famous than Saturn's, discovered when the Voyager 1 spacecraft passed through the system in 1979. Embedded directly inside that ring system are two small moons, Metis and Adrastea, each only about 12 to 16 miles across, orbiting closer to Jupiter than any other known moons. These two moons are so close to the planet that they orbit faster than Jupiter itself rotates, completing a full loop around the planet in less than 7 hours. Because they sit so deep inside Jupiter's gravitational field, tidal forces are constantly stretching and pulling at them, and scientists studying their orbits believe they are slowly losing altitude, spiraling closer to the planet over time. Eventually, calculated over millions of years, the immense gravity of Jupiter is expected to either pull these moons apart entirely or drag them down into the planet's crushing atmosphere. Some scientists, including researchers who study planetary rings, believe the dusty material that makes up Jupiter's faint rings in the first place is debris knocked loose from Metis and Adrastea by micrometeorite impacts, meaning these two small moons are quite literally shedding pieces of themselves into the rings that surround them, slowly disintegrating in full view of anyone watching. Number 8. One of Jupiter's moons has its own magnetic field, and scientists only found out because of the strange lights it was hiding. In 1996, the Galileo spacecraft, launched by NASA in 1989, made a startling discovery while passing by Ganymede, the largest moon in our entire solar system, even larger than the planet Mercury. Ganymede was found to generate its own magnetic field, an internally produced magnetosphere, something no other moon anywhere in the solar system is known to possess. This was confirmed further in 2015, when physicist Joachim Sohr at the University of Cologne led a team using the Hubble Space Telescope to observe faint auroras, glowing bands of light near Ganymede's poles, similar to the northern lights seen on Earth. By carefully tracking how those auroras rocked back and forth, the team confirmed that Ganymede's magnetic field was being influenced by a hidden layer of salty liquid water beneath its icy crust, an ocean acting almost like an electrical conductor. This means Ganymede is not simply an inert ball of ice. It behaves in a small way like its own miniature planet, complete with a churning interior, a protective magnetic bubble, and a hidden ocean sealed beneath its frozen shell, generating forces powerful enough to be detected from millions of miles away by a telescope orbiting Earth. Number 7. One moon's surface has not changed in 4 billion years, and scientists still find that unsettling. Callisto, the second largest of Jupiter's moons, is covered in more impact craters than almost any other object ever observed in the solar system. Data gathered by the Galileo spacecraft throughout the 1990s revealed that Callisto's surface is essentially a frozen fossil, a record of nearly every major impact it has absorbed since the earliest days of the solar system, roughly 4 billion years ago. Unlike Io, which resurfaces itself constantly through volcanic activity, or Europa, whose icy shell appears to shift and crack, Callisto shows almost no signs of internal geological activity at all. Its most striking feature, a massive multi-ring impact structure called Valhalla, stretches roughly 1,900 miles across, rippling outward in concentric rings like a rock dropped into a still pond, frozen in place for eons. And yet, buried beneath all of that ancient cratered stillness, magnetometer data from the Galileo mission, published in 1998, suggested that Callisto may also harbor a hidden layer of salty liquid water deep beneath its crust. A moon that looks on the surface like the oldest and most lifeless object imaginable may be quietly concealing a liquid ocean that has remained hidden, undisturbed, for the entire multi-billion-year history of our solar system. Number 6. One moon's icy shell is cracking apart like broken glass, and nobody knows exactly what lies beneath the fractures. Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 largest moons, has a surface covered in long, reddish-brown streaks and jagged, jumbled regions that scientists call chaos terrain, first mapped in detail by the Galileo spacecraft during its multiple flybys between 1995 and 2003. In these chaos regions, the icy crust appears to have broken into enormous rafts of ice, each one rotated and shifted slightly out of place, almost like puzzle pieces that have been jostled apart and refrozen at odd angles. The leading explanation, supported by researchers including planetary scientist Ronald Greeley at Arizona State University, is that these ice rafts were once floating on top of liquid water or slushy ice, allowing them to drift and rotate before the surface refroze into its current jumbled shape. This is considered one of the strongest pieces of visual evidence that Europa's icy shell is not a solid, unbroken sheet, but a fractured lid sitting on top of something fluid underneath. The cracks stretch for hundreds of miles across the surface, some of them wide enough and long enough to be visible from telescopes on Earth, silent fault lines running across an alien moon, hinting at constant, slow, grinding movement happening in total darkness beneath the ice. Number 5. Geysers of water have been seen erupting directly off the surface of an icy moon, shooting material out into open space. In 2012, astronomer Lawrence Roth at the Southwest Research Institute used the Hubble Space Telescope to detect what appeared to be plumes of water vapor erupting from Europa's south polar region, rising an estimated 125 miles above the moon's icy surface, roughly the width of the state of Massachusetts. Further observations in 2016 by researcher William Sparks at the Space Telescope Science Institute strengthened the case, detecting similar plume activity in the same general region during repeated transits of the moon in front of Jupiter. If these plumes are real and consistently active, they represent something extraordinary: water erupting directly out of Europa's hidden subsurface ocean, spraying material out into the vacuum of space, where a future spacecraft could, in theory, fly directly through the plume and sample it without ever needing to drill through miles of ice. It would mean Europa's ocean is not permanently sealed away at all, but is occasionally venting itself outward, leaking evidence of whatever exists in its depths into space, where it briefly becomes visible before falling back down, or dispersing entirely into nothing. Number 4. The radiation around Jupiter's moons is powerful enough to kill a human being in minutes, and it has already damaged our spacecraft. Jupiter possesses the most powerful magnetic field of any planet in our solar system, nearly 20,000 times stronger than Earth's, and that field traps enormous belts of charged particles, creating a radiation environment near its innermost moons that is almost incomprehensibly hostile. Scientists have calculated that an unprotected human standing on the surface of Io or Europa would receive a lethal dose of radiation within minutes, far exceeding anything survivable even briefly. This radiation is not just theoretical. NASA's Galileo spacecraft, which orbited Jupiter from 1995 to 2003, suffered repeated electronic damage and instrument glitches directly caused by the intense radiation environment surrounding the planet, forcing engineers to constantly reroute commands and manage failing systems from millions of miles away. More recently, NASA's Juno spacecraft, launched in 2011, was built with a specially designed titanium vault, nicknamed the Radiation Vault, specifically to shield its sensitive electronics from being destroyed by this same environment. Any future mission attempting to land a probe, or eventually a human being, near Jupiter's moons must contend with an invisible storm of high-energy particles that would tear through unprotected flesh, electronics, and equipment with equal, indifferent efficiency, an entire region of space that is beautiful to look at from a distance and almost immediately lethal to approach directly. Number 3. Beneath its frozen shell, one moon may be hiding an ocean with twice the volume of every ocean on Earth combined. Europa's icy surface, roughly the same size as Earth's own moon, conceals what many planetary scientists consider the most promising ocean in the entire solar system. Based on gravity measurements and magnetic field data gathered by the Galileo spacecraft in the late 1990s, researchers estimate that Europa's global ocean, sealed beneath an ice shell somewhere between 10 and 15 miles thick, could contain more than twice the total volume of liquid water found in all of Earth's oceans combined. What keeps this water from freezing solid, despite Europa sitting roughly 5 times farther from the Sun than Earth, is a process called tidal heating. As Europa orbits Jupiter, it is constantly stretched and flexed by the immense gravitational pull of the planet, along with gravitational tugging from its neighboring moons Io and Ganymede, generating internal friction that produces enough heat to keep an entire ocean liquid, hidden permanently beneath a shell of ice, in complete and total darkness, cut off from any sunlight whatsoever. It means an ocean larger than anything on our own planet may have been sitting quietly, sealed away, for billions of years, entirely unseen by any living thing, and entirely undisturbed by the surface world above it. Number 2. One moon's volcanoes never stop erupting because it is being crushed by an invisible tug-of-war between 3 other worlds. Io's extraordinary volcanic activity, the most intense of any body in our solar system, is not powered by leftover heat from its formation the way volcanoes on Earth eventually are. It is powered by an ongoing, unending gravitational conflict. Io, Europa, and Ganymede exist in what is called a Laplace resonance, a precise gravitational relationship discovered through orbital mechanics, in which Io orbits Jupiter exactly 4 times for every 2 orbits Europa completes, and every 1 orbit Ganymede completes. This repeating gravitational alignment means Io is constantly being pulled and stretched, not just by Jupiter's own overwhelming gravity, but by the rhythmic tug of its 2 neighboring moons, flexing Io's interior over and over again like a piece of metal being bent back and forth until it grows hot. This process, called tidal heating, generates so much internal friction that Io's interior is believed to be almost entirely molten, feeding hundreds of active volcanoes and constantly repaving its own surface. Unlike Earth, where volcanic activity slowly decreases as internal heat fades, Io has no reason to ever stop. As long as Jupiter, Europa, Ganymede, and Io continue their locked orbital dance, the gravitational tug-of-war will continue indefinitely, meaning Io is trapped in a state of permanent, unrelenting volcanic violence that has no natural endpoint anywhere in sight. Number 1. We built a spacecraft specifically to search for alien life inside a hidden ocean we cannot even see. On October 14, 2024, NASA launched the Europa Clipper mission, a spacecraft specifically designed to conduct dozens of close flybys of Europa, carrying advanced instruments built to measure the thickness of its ice shell, analyze the chemistry of its surface, and search for any additional evidence of plume activity venting material from the ocean below. The mission, developed under the leadership of project scientist Robert Pappalardo at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is expected to arrive at Jupiter in 2030 after a journey of nearly 4 years. The reason this mission exists at all comes down to a simple but staggering possibility. Europa's hidden ocean contains liquid water, a source of internal heat through tidal flexing, and likely contact between that water and a rocky seafloor below, potentially producing the exact chemical conditions, similar to hydrothermal vents found deep in Earth's own oceans, that many scientists believe could support microbial life. Nobody involved in this mission expects to find definitive proof of alien life. The spacecraft is not even designed to land, only to observe from orbit. But for the first time in human history, we have built and launched a machine, at a cost of roughly $5 billion, with a genuine, serious scientific purpose of investigating whether life might exist somewhere other than Earth, sealed away in an ocean we have never seen, beneath a shell of ice we have never touched, on a moon that sits nearly 400 million miles away. And the answer, whatever it turns out to be, is currently sitting in total darkness, waiting for us to finally arrive and ask the question directly. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now, and make sure to subscribe.